Good morning. Welcome to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. And you are tuned in to No Doubt Drive Safety. And what the heck? What are you doing?
Smiling.
Wow, dude. That is creeper smiling. You know what? Hey, for those of you left on the show right now that didn't just say, you know what, I'm out of here, we do want to welcome in Drive Safe Dave. When I say the safest station in the nation, dude, that still kind of freaked me out.
Why?
Tell us what that means to you, Drive Safe Dave.
Which one, the smile or the safest station in the nation?
Whatever you want to do, sir. This is your show.
Safest station in the nation is us right here making a difference in the industry today of bringing you the word of safety and how we can make it better.
Yes, and it is our responsibility, not only here as host of this great station, to bring you that message, but it's also your job out there as a driver, as a dispatcher, as a manager, as an owner, as a safety expert. You out there, it's your job to do the action required to keep us going safe. Drive safe. We had the big news that it's a news story that just came out. It's a $750 or $730 million Texas awarded in a jury again on a fatality.
Yeah, the tort claim of the for the big over-dimensional load that had an accident on a narrow bridge. And killed a lady on the bridge. Yeah, that was what an award.
Yeah, and it's one of the largest in the country, not just Texas, but in the country as we did this. And just for those of you that don't know about this right here, here it is right here. The award goes to the family of a 73-year-old woman who was killed back in 2016. The truck, it was hauled by Landstar Ranger. You had the escort service as well. It happened in Titus County, Texas, over there close to near Mount Pleasant. There was escorts in the front and the back, and these are the escorts that we see those escorts out driving these trucks. And I'll be honest with you, I don't feel like they get the respect that they deserve. I think they become almost more of a nuisance than what's in between them, right? And we don't give them the value that they deserve as well. Okay, here we go. So the truck was going northbound with the escort service. The lady was driving southbound. She crosses over to the bridge in which he's already in her lane, right? He's in her lane. He swerves out of the way. She hits the propeller, a nuclear propeller, instantly killed. Landstar settles for $50 million, I believe, a week before the jury selection. The rear escort settles for $1 million, and then they go to court. And this is what comes out. The rest was, here we go. It was the verdict was $480 million in compensatory damages. All right, and drive safe. You know what? That's the result of negligence or unlawful. That's what happened. That's what the jury awarded, and then $250 million in punitive. And punitive is just really kind of there to set an example, right? It's to take away. It's to punish somebody for doing something wrong. That's the punitive damages on that.
Yeah, and just an incredible amount of money in tort. And this actually goes before this all predates the reform that has already gone in Texas. So that falls under the old law in which the rules don't apply as they do today under the new tort reform laws.
Yeah, and that the plaintiff, he goes right here. The lawyer says, "Hey, this part of Texas is full of narrow bridges, and yet they had no plan for navigating them." That's what we're at right now. And I'm not saying, it's a sad day anytime you lose life on that. But I will say this: when we drive the highways, when we pull out of the drive right here, we have that here, escorts coming out carrying some large vehicles behind them as well, and we don't give them the respect. I see it all the time right here in Airport Drive, and I see it on Main Street. But between that guy, the first escort going and the last one, there'll be 4, 5, 8 cars passing, getting over there because they don't want to get behind the large vehicle, the one that's being escorted.
Yeah, and usually what transpires on those narrow bridges, what they try to do is the lead escort usually goes up and blocks the road up ahead and tries to make sure that so that the oversized load or the OD load can actually pass through. He's actually permitted to run that lane. So it's not like they don't know where they're going and they don't know the path. It's not a surprise. But normally that's how it is. And you know what? It doesn't matter how hard those escort guys work. Most of the time they're ignored. They're under-respected. And you know what? You got to give them the credit they do. There's been many killed trying to save lives out there as escorts on the road today. And I don't know if you know that or not, but there are a lot out there that do everything they can to protect a life.
Yeah, and I'll say this too, and it's part of what we've got to do when we're educating the kids in driver ed. We've got to talk to them about what these folks are doing, what it means when you see them out there with their big flags going, the flashers, heavy load, wide load, something like that behind me. We've got to slow down, give them respect, and otherwise, if you just pass them, it can be too late. And I didn't know this as well, is that in this case here, and I'm sure it happens all the time, is that the two escorts are from two different companies. I would assume that they hired the front and the back, from the same company. This came from two different companies. But I will say this is somewhere along the line, again, this is just what the story says. It's just another reminder of how important communication is. Communicating to those in front of you that, something bad's going on. We talk about it with our drivers, with drivers on the road. When you see an accident, when you spot something, a big shutdown to hit those hazards as well, to warn those behind you that something bad is up ahead of you. So there's ways that we can communicate. And it just made me think, boy, you had two different companies and another one driving. Was there any communication? Could we do a better job? And when it comes to communication, drive safe, heck, we know we can always do a better job.
Yeah, and you'll be surprised that the old school CBs are utilized in those instances, and they all get on their channel and they try to ride the main channel out there so that they can communicate with other traffic as well. But I'll tell you, they're not respected on the road, and some people don't even know really what they do and their role.
And that's my point there. I think we as a country, we as educators, part of BCB Live, is to educate those out there that aren't familiar with trucking, that aren't familiar, because we know what that means. We know when we see those. Our listeners understand, but what about the others? How many kids in high school know what that means? How many, how you just say, what's going on there? Just, man, let me get out of their way and keep going down that bridge. How many people know? And I just think when it comes to anytime we see, anytime we have an opportunity to learn, okay, and that can protect life, we've got to start at the root, right? We got to start with the kids that are coming out of the class. Make sure that they understand what it is. We can put a few commercials out there. We've got to do our part to help educate this world on all these things in trucking, because there's so much that goes on. We say that just, all we do is pick up and deliver. And in general, that's what we do. But drive safe, there's a lot that goes into it, including when a truck's got, they break down. And now we're asking them to go out and put cones. And
triangles.
Yes, triangles. There you go. So put triangles out there. And when they do that, again, the four-wheelers, we've got to move out of the way. We've got to get into that left lane if at all possible.
Yeah, when you get out there on the road, and a lot of drivers do this, and you just got to respect and have courtesy out there on either roads, on vehicles on the side of the road, vehicles out there in a disabled vehicle, even in the middle of the road. You've got to make sure that you understand there's going to be people out moving around 360 degrees of that vehicle. And here's what's scary. A lot of the times people believe that they're safe between the vehicles, because, you got a vehicle behind you. Mm-hmm. So you feel like you're safe in between the two vehicles when it's farthest from the truth. You've got to move away from the vehicles out there. And if you're ever pulled over or what have you, move all the way away from the vehicles on a disabled vehicle on a busy highway. Don't feel like that area between the two vehicles is a safe place, because it's really not.
Yeah, it's not. And before we go to break here, listen, if you're a driver for any company out there and you're wondering how important your job is to your company, to yourself, to the lives of others, that's how critical what you do is that when you make a mistake, understand that, somebody's going to go back and they're going to investigate every decision you made, not just today,
correct,
but they're going to go back as far as they're legally allowed to see, should you have even been there?
Right.
And what I mean by that is if you catch yourself, unplugging that log and cheating the system to get a few more miles, Well, when something bad happens, what anybody will do, the plaintiff's going to do, and rightfully so, is to look at your log and say, well, had he or she obeyed the law, they wouldn't have been there. They wouldn't have been there to kill, the family of 4, because they would have been back. They would have still been at their trucking terminal. And when you cheat the system, understand that the significance of that is real. Understand that it's illegal. Understand that we can find everything out. When you unplug your log, when something bad happens, somebody's going to investigate it, and they're going to go back and look at your history, what you've done in your past, and if you've had, have you had a habit of doing that? And as a safety director, it's your job to go back in the system and find these things, drive safe, because safety directors have a tough job too, because they have to hold people liable. They got to hold people accountable. How about that? For decisions that we make while we drive. And just because, Dave, and we talked about this on Saturday, just because you're a driver and you're not watching BCB Live, understand that BCB Live, it's not the gospel. It's not like Sunday, going to church on Sunday. You don't have to. Most of you aren't forced to watch it. This isn't, in the empire, in the kingdom of Sir Rick, it would be watched all the time. But this is not. You have choices, and maybe it doesn't fit your schedule. Maybe you don't care, and that's okay. You, as a safety director, you still have to reach out to those that aren't watching your safety program.
Correct.
You still have to talk to those. You can't just say, I don't know why they ain't watching it, Drive Safe, Dave. They should be watching. We got to. No, you don't have to get them on there. The beauty of this right here, what we do today, is we share with you a company, a director of safety at any trucking company in America. We show you who's watching it, because odds are, if they're listening to this, they're going to get something out of it. We're telling you who you need to talk to, and just pick, and you don't have to force them over here. Matter of fact, they don't need to come ever. They don't need to listen. You just have to do your job to them. You got to talk to them.
Yeah. So it's really simple. If they're not getting the PM done, and you're not getting any record of your preventive maintenance done, then obviously it's time to go look at the truck. I mean, it's time to walk out and look at, right? If you're not getting any of that preventive maintenance records, hey, well, I don't see any oil change over the last 6 months. I don't see any way you've tried to prevent bad things to happen to the truck. Well, then maintenance sure can find out and walk out there and make sure we go get it looked at. And it's the same concept, right?
It is.
And what we're doing is we're trying to create a preventive maintenance program here, preventive maintenance against bad things happening out there on the road. Also, we want to make sure, and I'll tell you this, we want in our heart of hearts for you to get passionate about safety, to you bring it right here inside and understand.
Hold on, Dave, but and I agree with what you're saying. And their passion isn't just to say, you got to watch BCB Live.
No.
You got to have your own passion, because
Correct.
I do believe this, Dave. If I have a fleet of drivers, if I have, I'm going to get most of them to watch this show when they can.
Right,
because I as well am going to have that passion. If you're doing it to just check the box, well, you got to watch it. Check. You know what? Maybe they're paying you. Maybe they're not paying you. Who knows? But it's not just to check the box. You, even if they don't watch this and you're a dispatcher, you're a driver, whatever your form is, you still have accountability to that driver to talk to him or her about safety. It's not Drive Safe Dave's job.
It's not. No, I'll tell you.
It is not your job.
I'll tell you.
You're going to get people excited about it. You're going to show them where the rest area is.
I am going to show them where the rest area is. I'll tell you, you know what, about safety, it's really a lot about not just checking the box. When you get out and you do your pre-trip, it's not about just checking the box. It's not about just walking around the vehicle because that's what you're supposed to do. It's about getting out there and actually looking because you want to find something wrong. You'll want to be involved. And that's what we're doing here at Safety. We want you to want to be involved. And here is our opportunity as a group and as a family to share that experience. But you know what? To your point, Sir Rick, if you see somebody that isn't involved, right, and isn't doing it, you have an opportunity to go to that person and say, hey, What are you doing different? And you know what? You may not like Sir Rick, or you may not like Drive Safe Dave, and I get that. I know that's hard to understand. It's hard for me to even fathom. But if that be the case, and it be something else that you need to do, what are you doing different about safety? What are you taking? I'm not saying, so I try to tell people this all the time, and I don't mean to be on a soapbox, but I'm going to tell you, that book, that safety manual that you have in your truck, that little green book, that's the absolute minimum by law required to be safe. And I'm asking you, is that all you want to do, is the bare minimum in the world? Do you want to be the bare minimum guy when it comes to safety, or do you want to go that extra mile? Do you want to step up and say, you know what, I'm willing to do more than what it takes. I'm willing to make sure that I truly believe people are important. I believe my own life is important, and I believe that I'm responsible to ensure the safety of others. So if we can do a little bit more, go out there and do a lot more. Do whatever you can. Don't just do the bare minimums.
Bare minimum. He's not talking to you, the truck driver. He's talking to you, the dispatcher, you, the owner of a trucking company. You, the safety manager, that says it's not the bare minimum you're after.
Correct.
That's when you force them over and you make them watch BCB Live. That's the bare minimum. Luckily, you have a couple of studs up here, good-looking guys with a freaky smile that's going to have some passion about safety. And we're going to talk to your drivers. We're going to get them to understand how important safety is, that it is a matter of life and death.
Absolutely.
That 1 second of you not staying focused can take the life of others. And from a business perspective, if you're a owner out there, my goodness, you what we're doing is important, because we're trying to save your jobs, but we can't do it alone. You've got to take that extra step, and you've got to believe it. You've got to want to talk to your employees, your drivers, and safety managers, dispatchers, owner. You have got to take more ownership when it comes to safety. I feel, Drive Safe Dave, that sometimes we just want to say, well, we're watching BCB Live.
Or
they're watching it. You know, they got that young kid, that producer with that head full of hair. You know, come on, what else could we possibly do?
I tell you, you know, and it's funny, you know, here it is, Sir Rick. Well, I tell them to drive safe, careful on them. When I hang up with them, I tell them to drive safe. I'm doing it. I'm telling them to be careful. Yep. I mean, that's. And
can you get me can you get one more load in? I know you're tired. Hey, be careful.
I need you to, here's the big line. I need a favor. Yeah, don't you love it when the dispatcher calls?
First of all, all right, we're going to go to a break. I got the producer yelling at me real quick. Before we do that, Drive Safe Dave, listen, I'm going to do you a favor. Do we understand what a favor means? That means you're not getting paid. So when you're giving a
I know what a favor means.
You're getting somebody to do something, and you're paying them. That's not a favor. That's a job. You know, a favor is something they're going to do for free. Right?
Yeah, or change your plans.
Yeah, thank you. We'll be back in 60 seconds with more BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Welcome back to BCB Live, safest station in the nation. Drive Safe Dave. We've been talking a lot, right, about all of the companies that are moving to Texas. And not just Texas, in specific in that Austin, San
That high
Antonio.
tech, that tech alley or whatever it is they're calling, right? The new Silicon Valley, basically what they're trying to put
a lot
up.
of manufacturing, though, moving that direction as well. And you know, and we talk about that in the big conversation alley. Well, is that San Antonio, Austin? Is that going to be the new freight alley? You know, and I know for certain we see a lot. That's certainly a drug alley, right? As drugs move up from Mexico into the States.
Well, yeah.
We do know that. We see a lot of bus coming at the border, you know, going through those cities, and that's going to probably jump up as well. But what are your thoughts, Drive Safe Dave, on the freight alley in those areas?
Well, I can tell you right now, already there is a large consumption of going on of freight into that area, and it has risen dramatically over a short period of time. And I truly believe as those new industries get put in place and they actually start outputting, I think you're going to see a dramatic change. Not only, and I am talking specifically directly north of San Antonio as you move through that area there and all the way up through Buda and all those little towns right there. I think those things are going to be a massive explosion of freight.
Yeah, and when we talk about the freight, though, you know, some of the things that come to my mind, and let's just throw Houston there, right? We can talk for a second, producer, if we can. We're going to talk a second about the Texas Triangle. And those of you, if you're unfamiliar, that's Dallas, San Antonio, Houston, back up. That's what makes up that Texas Triangle. Now, Drive Safe Dave, when we talk about freight alley, when we talk about all the manufacturing that's going to go on, I just took yesterday, Monday, synopsis of what the balance looks like today. And when I talk about balance, that's the amount of loads to trucks. And we've known from many episodes on the show is that Dallas will have a big upside of a lot more freight than it has trucks. However, Fort Worth, Houston, San Antonio, Austin, they are so negative. There's so many more trucks down there than there are freight. Now, just go with me for a second, because as we begin to build up more freight in San Antonio and Austin specifically, understand it's going to consume even more tractors going inbound. And Dallas, you know, it's going to have to really get a lot of freight out of here. I'm going to tell you this, Dallas rates coming up when all this happens, those rates are going to plummet because there's going to be too many trucks. Not in Dallas. People are saying, come on, there's 200 more loads a day out of Dallas than there are trucks. Don't forget this, that today there's 70 more loads than there were trucks. San Antonio, Fort Worth, Austin, 35 less trucks, you know, or too many trucks. 45 too many trucks, 56 too many trucks, and back there in the yellow, which I think is San Antonio or Austin as well, that's like another 40. All of these trucks, and this is just going to keep increasing, meaning going down. These negatives are going to get larger in San Antonio, right, Drive? Because we've got to build these factories. All these trucks are going to go into there. It's going to make it so many trucks there that they're just going to have to keep coming up to Dallas to get the freight. If you're a shipper out of Dallas, you should be excited right now because you could expect a decrease in rates maybe in 2 years. It's not going to happen today. Don't start budgeting, changing your budget around, but know that the rates out of Dallas are going to have to go down because Houston, San Antonio, Austin, they are just going to consume. And then once they begin to produce, that will change it around.
It'll turn around.
Right? It'll change around. But just know that coming up soon, you know, you will have some benefit out of Dallas as these trucks go in. And I'm going to say this, if you're a trucking company, you're shipping in, you're getting good rates into San Antonio, Austin, Houston, whatever that is, you're going to have to charge more to go in there. Why is that, Drive Safe?
Because you're going to have to go somewhere to get a load out, and that's either going to be Laredo all the way in south and make your length of haul longer, or you're going to have to come up to Dallas to get a freight as well.
And I'm telling you right now that if Dallas rates go down like I'm telling you you're going to, and you're looking at it, well, I can go into San Antonio, Austin, and go to Dallas because those rates are grand. Understand those rates are going to go down, so you're going to have to get more into San Antonio. So if you're a shipper from somewhere in the country and you're shipping into Austin, San Antonio, Houston, expect those rates to go up.
Absolutely. And you know what? It won't take long for the market to balance itself. It'll take one or two times and somebody goes, whoa, 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 I'm going to need a little bit more money to go in there. It only takes once or twice to get burned before you figure out, hey, that's not enough cash.
Hey, we'll be back to you in less than 60 seconds. Drive Safe Dave we have a cat story and more struggles, more issues on those poor airlines. Back to you in 60 seconds. This is BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Hi, this is David Dover, also known as Drive Safe Dave. You are watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Safety is what you want to talk about, and safety is what you want to be every single day. That's what we're here for. We're here to make it better.
The industry needs BCB Live so that it can find new and inventive ways to bring safety to the forefront for every single person out there on the road.
You got to be prepared to stop, and when you look at that and you understand the situation that you're in, you got to know that it's going to change. You got to expect it to change, and you can't run those lights.
You can watch BCB Live weekdays, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. So what are you waiting for? Follow and subscribe to BCB Live today.
And welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Drive Safe Dave. We've been talking about the issues that the airlines are having, and we're not talking about the shortages. We're not talking about the delays.
the fuel.
We're talking about the fighting that goes on. A lot of it has to do with alcohol and the mask mandate. And Drive Safe Dave, we're going to throw one more thing in. As reported by a Sydney newspaper, we have now a Delta airline flight going from Sydney, I think, to Atlanta, Georgia. A passenger milking a cat.
Breastfeeding a cat.
Breastfeeding, I'm sorry.
Breastfeeding a cat. Oh, great image.
That is different than milking a cat.
That is different than milking, but actually breastfeeding. And so I'm not sure. And many people requested them to stop on the airlines.
The flight attendant goes and asks repeatedly, can you please stop breastfeeding the cat? In which they were told no. And what an uncomfortable situation that is.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not. Why? First of all, how is it okay to have the cat out of the carrier?
You know what? I don't know. And they talk about that too, right? Because they're going to the fact saying, you know what? What do they call it now? When you take an animal with you on the plane?
It was an emotional support cat.
Emotional support animal.
It's out of control right now. They're saying, and Delta Airline, I think American's doing the same thing. They're making these things more stringent because it has gotten out of control. They've seen ducks on there. You seen that? Everything. Possums on their planes now. Turkey. There's an emotional thing with a turkey on there. All of these things, they're saying enough's enough. Drive Safe Dave.
Enough is enough. The only turkey I want to wait till Christmas before I see another turkey, though.
All these stories that are going around regarding these airlines, they've got to, certainly there's going to be a flight attendant shortage. I mean, who wants to work on that thing? First of all, you're getting fought, you're getting hit, you're getting punched out, and now you're dealing with cats on the plane.
I don't get it. I probably would have videotaped that and put that on YouTube. I don't know what I would do in that instance. Hey, you don't see that every day. But you know what? Is it just going on planes, or is that a world rampant issue? And I'm curious.
Yeah, I think this is a new COVID thing. Speaking of COVID, we have Dallas Cowboys head coach not coaching on Sunday. I'm not, they've lost 3 out of the last 4. I don't know if that's really going to hurt them or not. But you know what? COVID has just gone through this Cowboys team, and now we're out of head coach again. And they said, apparently 7 or 8 other players may be out as well.
Yeah, and vaccinated, so he doesn't have any symptoms. He just tested positive.
You know what? All these are they fake vaccination cards? I'm saying somebody's got to get to the bottom of this right now. Are they on that YouTube? Were they part of that, or on that eBay? Remember the young lady that did that
the
eBay?
Stack of cards.
She got put in jail for doing that. We all laughed about it, but it's real.
Oh, right? Absolutely real. And believe it or not, because it's a government document, a government issued document, you got to be very careful that you're talking about a form of treason by forging government documents.
Yes, it's and as we move into wintertime, I think treason's a very strong word.
I'm just saying it's up
come
there.
on now.
I'm just saying it's possible. What? Okay, so let's forge a passport and see where you get.
There's a difference.
Not much.
There's a difference.
There's a federal stamp on that. I guess there is on a duck stamp too when you hunt. But I guess.
Oh, come on! All right, hey, you know what? It is time for that phrase that pays.
Okay, I'm ready.
Mr. Dover, give it to us, baby.
All right. Ho, 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 drive safe. and return home, home, home.
One more time.
Ho, 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 drive safe and return home, home, home.
We will return in 60 seconds with Buckle Up Bob. This is BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
You're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. BCB Live covers freight. Here we are now at 21% of record freight being rejected. News
Down in Texas, we're going to talk a little bit about this. We had another $1.5 million seizure. If ever there's a time to do a pre or post trip, it's if you're doing something wrong.
weather, traffic.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to some traffic and weather with Buckle Up Bob. You kind of see where the visibility can be compromised a little bit. Again, right where that rain is.
And most importantly, safety.
One of the things that we must do is make sure that safety is the number one thing that we focus on.
Going into an intersection yellow is not the way. That's to clear an intersection, not to enter an intersection.
Tune in weekdays from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can watch BCB Live through LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe today and follow BCB Live.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the safest station in the nation, BCB Live. And I'm Buckle Up Bob, and we're going to start off with a little bit of traffic. We've got some issues in the DFW area, so if you're coming in this morning, the Loop 12 up in here on 183 and that coming into the city, they had a tanker rollover or accident. I believe it's hanging off the bridge from what I understand. But you've got a big, you can see a lot of dark maroon and red coming in there. On this northbound, I believe that's 114 maybe. So again, no, that's not 114. Whatever that road is that's going through there, I'm not sure which one it is. But just be on the lookout for that. Dallas area, the loop is all congested, 635. A lot of major issues coming up this morning. 30, the normal slowdown coming in, going eastbound on 30, just past the 820 loop. And up here in North Richland Hills, and north on 35W, they got a lot of construction going on through there, so you can expect some delays as you go up northbound on 35W. Again, southbound coming into the Fort Worth area, also going to have some minor delays down here between Burleson and the 2820 loop that goes around the city. As we go into Kansas City, looks pretty good this morning. Again, Kansas City, not many issues. A few of them up here on the northeastern side of the loop. But all in all, your commute in Kansas City should be pretty smooth this morning. As you come in, a little 635, we got a little bit of a delay there. Chicago looks really good. Again, coming in from Indiana on 8094, you look good. 355 looks great around the outside. 55 coming into Bolingbrook and coming in into the city looks pretty good. So really nothing. 90 looks clear up into the north, and 88 coming in from the west also looks good as you come into Chicago. Atlanta, Atlanta looks pretty congested this morning. Typical, right? The 20 coming in from the east. Also 285, the loop around, it looks pretty congested all the way here from Pine Lake, Clarkson area, all the way around down to Vinings, Georgia. And it looks like some major delay coming into the city on 20 from the west as you come to the loop. Remember, must take the loop. Looks like south, if you're coming that way, south is your best bet to go around because the northern part looks a little bit congested this morning for Atlanta area. As we come into Philadelphia, New Jersey side looks pretty congested. Again, you're in that 20-25 minute delay. Turnpike is not as bad as usual, but still expect some delays coming in from Conshohocken. I always want to say Conshohocken. And coming in the Turnpike into the downtown area. 276 looks clear along the north, and 76 going east and west as well. So again, kind of the typical run-of-the-mill rush hour traffic this morning in Philadelphia. Nashville is a lot redder than normal. We got a lot of issues coming up. So we'll start down here at 24. Wow. 24 is going all the way down here past 266, Rock Springs, Walnut Ridge. Coming up from the southeast into the Nashville area, you can expect stop-and-go traffic all the way for quite a long while. We also have some problems here at 4024 merge coming in into the city. A little bit of delay here on the eastbound lane of 440. And then the typical up here for 6524 merge. And the Ellington Parkway has an issue coming down from the north. So on 31E, expect some delays there as well. Make sure, again, the loop is the best way to go around the city of Nashville this morning, as it is typically in all the major cities. As we go to the Baltimore area, it looks mainly just a typical day, right? You've got some stop-and-go traffic on the northern half of the loop. A little bit here by Arbutus, Maryland, coming down, coming out of Baltimore, heading towards the Washington, D.C. area, which looks, again, the entire loop has some spots on it. Not solid red, but again, you're going to have some stop-and-go traffic as you approach the D.C. area this morning. So again, got to have that patience. You got to have that spacing in between you know, the car in front of you, because again, you got a lot of stop-and-go traffic. So it's just going to require a lot of patience on all the drivers to keep this at a minimum to avoid the accidents. Remember that. That's what we got to do. Avoid the accidents, protect life. Indianapolis has some issues down here on the southern part of the loop going around. You can see down here Beach Grove, Southport, 65 coming up. We've got some pretty heavy traffic going in there on that corner. And again, up here in the northeastern corner on 465 loop, also a little bit of congestion there. Not too bad, as bad as the southern portion, but should see some maybe some 20-minute delays there as you go into the stop-and-go traffic as you go around the city of Indianapolis this morning. We got some weather as we look, you know, looks pretty clear from the wind. And again, we had a little bit of snow up in Pennsylvania over the weekend, just some flurries. Not really did much. You can see right now, not a whole lot going on. A little system coming in the Seattle area. But all in all, the country looks pretty good. Let's see what our winds are going to do today. Start to kick up this afternoon. You can see Wyoming, a little bit here by the Panhandle. But all in all, not too bad. It's going to kind of stay up there in the Wyoming, Montana. We're going to get in them 25 mile-an-hour gusts probably here near the Detroit, and as you're moving to Pennsylvania. As the evening wears on, they do die down a little bit, just some isolated pockets. Actually, in Denver, it starts to pick up just west of Denver. As we go into the early mornings, still kind of the same. You can see really strong winds up here in Montana. Kind of shrinks a little bit in Wyoming, but as tomorrow kind of gets in the afternoon, again, really calms down, just kind of stays up here in Wyoming and the Montana area. So our winds should be pretty good, decent for the next couple of days. See a lot of snow up there in Canada, but we're staying away from the white stuff for tomorrow. And today, again, not much going on. We're going to see a little bit of snow come in, some lake effect snow coming into the New York state area. And right up here on the northeastern side of Pennsylvania, again, probably going to be in the flurry kind of thing. So we'll take a peek at the new snow. Yeah, you can see less than a half inch. Utica might get an inch. So you can kind of see it's just not going to be much more than a dusting as we go through there. And that's in the next 3 days. So if we go to the next, I guess I got to tap. I can't drag that. Next 24 hours, a quarter of an inch in Utica. So again, we're looking, you know, you're just not going to see that much. Again, the total should be around an inch. Detroit might see an inch of snow. All in all, the rest of the country is going to look pretty good. As we look at our fog this morning, not much showing up. And our visibility, as you can see, all up there in Canada and out there in Seattle. So again, we should be pretty good. I know we're Texas, we're going to see some 70s today. There you go. You can kind of see the temperatures all well above freezing. Utica is going to be right around that freezing mark. So again, got to watch that snow isn't ice. So we got to be careful when it hovers right around that 32-degree mark. Hey, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with some safety.
here, host of BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. If you don't already know about Freight in Review, it's a segment I cover once a week where I analyze freight rejections, freight tenders, driver productivity, and much, much more. You can watch Freight in Review on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe today and follow BCB Live.
And welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. We're joined with Buckle Up Bob, and we've been talking, Buckle Up Bob, a little bit on defensive driving.
Yes, and we're going to see that some in the videos, why that is so necessary. And again, you know, there's a lot of crazies out there. But, you know, the second thing we want to do is always, the first thing to be defensive is you got to slow down. There is absolutely zero safety reasons that you would want to speed over the speed limit, right? It's just as easy to go a few miles under that and give you them precious seconds that you've heard Sir Rick and Drive Safe Dave talk about all the time. The 1 second that makes the difference, right? You increase that by 2 or 3-fold when you slow down just 5 miles an hour, right? Just go a couple miles under that speed limit versus over. And we're going to see some issues today where that didn't happen and the potential risks that it did cause. The second one is increase the space, right? These are two of the critical things of protecting life. You know, you've got to be that situational awareness, and every situation you're out there, you drivers, you've seen it. These things that we show on these videos, they don't happen just this once that we caught on a video. These happen probably 100,000 times a day in some cases, these instances that we see. So if that's happening out there on the road, then you always have to be managing your speed and your space. It is the best tools you have to protecting life out there. And we're going to show some videos here. And this first one is just, you know, driver did a good job. You just got to back off. But watch this. Going pretty good. Uphill, you cannot see what's going on. You have an intersection sign there, I think. And here's a big cattle hauler truck, right? Passing on an incline. Man, just dangerous.
It's not we've all seen that happen a time or two out there. The bull haulers.
And it's like, you know what, when you see this, oh, it's a bull. It's almost like it doesn't even bother you, right? Because it's a bull hauler. But it's not right whether you're a bull hauler, drive and reefer carrier, vehicle.
First of all, can I just say I wasn't shocked. We're not really shocked by this move here, but really understand
back in the day. Let's be honest. Back in the day, the bull haulers did this, and that's what they were known for, right? They were above the law.
Absolutely.
And it's not necessarily the case. They still don't follow the same rules that we follow, right? However, you know what? There's a lot of safety in here. And then this right here, drive safe. If somebody's coming the other way, there's a fatality that happens at all. You, your company, everything, that driver, you're done. Your history, you're in jail.
Yeah, you know, and so you'll notice that it has a no passing zone. And let me tell you, the difficulty is that there's not always a no passing coming the other direction. And if somebody is passing coming the other direction, it makes it such a precarious situation when you've got all the road covered up going both directions, and that's when you can enter into these difficult situations. But doesn't matter if this is the case, and he's going pretty fast, but I suggest that if you encounter this situation and you're being passed like this in a precarious situation, absolutely back off. Get off the throttle. I don't know if
that's what happened on here or not. It looks like at some point either that hill became too big or we slowed down. This vehicle here slowed down. But agree 100%, drive safe, Dave. If you find yourself in the same situation,
back off.
Slow down, be the bigger person, allow the safe passage of you know, on both sides of the road. Just
let him get back over.
Yeah, let him get in ahead of you and let him do his thing.
Yeah, and this driver does slow down. You know, if there's anything to learn, you know, we always talk about how can we be better. And it maybe would have been, hey, you're looking in the mirrors, you see this guy out there, slow it down then. Right here, you can see that it does slow down a little bit there. But again, slow down earlier when you see this guy coming up on this. You know, what amazes me here, this is in Kansas. I didn't think there were any small hills in Kansas.
Oh, they're rolling. Flat. Oh, no, they're rolling out there.
But, yeah. And then here, man, oh, man, you know, driver does slow. You can see it coming right there in the mirror on the shoulder, right? And what it looks like in the video, and it's hard to tell, what it looks like in the video, by this driver slowing down, that truck actually slowed down a little bit in the left lane as well. We talk all the time how you can control traffic, and maybe that truck's seen it too, but right here, you can see that truck was passing pretty good. And then
drive safe, Dave?
That can't be.
No toolbox on the back of it, Sir Rick.
But great job by this driver, taking as much speed out of the equation as you possibly can. And this next one, man, you just showed the fatality accident verdict at a bridge, right? Here's one of those small little creek overpasses, and there goes a car passing. You know, we can't pick when these people are going to do these stupid things,
and there's a car coming right there too. I mean, it's listen. You know, again, I just think we've got to take this word out, not to just the big trucks. We can't do it in big trucks, and we saw it earlier. But here's a four-wheeler doing the same thing, passing a no passing zone. And we've just got to make sure people understand that protecting life is a four-wheeler's responsibility. It's the big truck's responsibility. It's all of our responsibility to protect life.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you'll look early into the lane, you'll notice that it is an open lane, that it is a passing. So I'm sure the guy got out there and started his maneuver, and only after he had committed it, he's committed, and it's a no passing. But you've got to be aware of what's going on, and it is not okay to continue to pass if you've got the no passing zone.
And again, what we want to make sure we do, if you're driving the big truck, you come across a situation, is just let them in. Let them in. Don't speed it up. Don't say, you moron, what are you passing me for? Let them in.
No one wins in that
protect
situation.
life.
Yeah, no one wins in that situation.
And if most of these have a sign, right, telling me that there's a no passing.
Some of them do, yeah.
You know, so there you got to also pay attention to the signs. We don't get to see the signs here, but there's probably a sign that says no passing zone ahead. You know, and this car obviously didn't see the sign, or there might not have been one. This one here, you know, again, we'll watch it again, but got to slow down, right? Be prepared at these intersections. But the thing here, it really kind of, you don't see anything happening here. But what the problem here is at the very beginning of the video, that's a 55-mile-an-hour sign, and this driver's doing 67, right? Actually, this driver slowed down to the actual speed limit right as they passed this truck. So again, pay attention to the signage, right? These are traffic control devices, and you've got an intersection. It says 55, and there's an intersection warning. All dangerous things. We talk all the time how dangerous intersections are, and this one doesn't have any lights or stop signs, so it's probably even more dangerous. And so you just got to make sure that you're obeying them signs, because 12 miles an hour over the speed limit, that takes you about 4 or 5 reaction time seconds away.
Yeah, and let's talk technology for a second. The technology's out there today, and if you don't know this, that you know, the truck you're driving or that you're going to be driving the next year and a half, the technology on the cameras will tell everybody what the speed is, and it won't just do it off the GPS. No longer will you be able to use it, well, the GPS was wrong. It's going to read the actual sign and tell, you know, and report back and say, hey, you're driving 70 in a 55, because we know what that speed is in them speed zones. And that goes for construction zones, that goes for stop lights, that goes for stop signs. You know, it will tell the, you know, the company that you slow rolled a stop sign. And, you know, and some people are going to go into that and say, my goodness, the big brother system is crazy in this trucking industry. And all I got to say is, all it's doing is helping protect the law. It's not doing anything nuts. It's just telling that you ran a red light.
Yeah, anything, and it'll identify any posted sign.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what the posting is, whether it's speed limit, whether it's no passing. It'll identify the posting, and that's what you have to follow out there on the road anyway. So
yeah, and I'm going to keep going into this, and it's not going away, right? It's just going to keep getting there. Why is that? Well, because the autonomous vehicle says so. The autonomous vehicle already has that technology to read that sign and to go the speed limit. And if the autonomous vehicle is going to have that technology, hey, guess what? So is the big truck. So is the non-autonomous vehicles going to have that same technology and being held to the same standards of obeying the law.
I watched this video, and I've watched it a couple of times, and here you've got a vehicle stopping in the roadway to turn left, and you're assuming, as the driver, you're assuming that vehicle is going to make a left. Do we believe that this truck is ready to stop if that truck does not turn left?
No chance.
And I think that's what we have to really pay attention to when we look at these videos and understand that you have to be prepared to stop from the vehicle in front of you. If that guy, for whatever reason, if somebody pulls out of that deal, or a pedestrian, or for whatever reason he pauses there in the roadway, you have to be prepared to stop. And do we truly believe that this vehicle is genuinely prepared to stop at this speed on this roadway?
Yeah, the signs told us speed limit, and it told us intersection. And that tells us to slow down, to be ready for something crazy. If you've watched this show more than once, you've heard Buckle Up Bob talk about the significance of intersections and the bad things that occur in intersections.
There's a reason when you first see this video, there's a reason it says intersection right there on the sign as you're approaching. It's doing that because something's happened there before many times, and that signage is there because something has happened here before, and they're trying to prevent it from happening again.
Yeah, and I kind of want to, I thought Sir Rick did a great job there. The technology's here. It's not going anywhere. And the reason this is so important is, as I left last night, I had the opportunity to talk to about 4 or 5 drivers in our lounge. And some of the things that you always hear over the years is, well, this is, I don't want to do this because it does this. And what I always hear is, I don't hear what we want to hear, which is nothing has to do about safety. It's about, well, it's going to take me extra time to do this or that. But I said, well, then you're missing the point. The point is about protecting life, nothing else. These signs, managing your speed and space, it's about protecting life. You can give all the excuses you want, but there's no safe reason, protecting life reason, to be doing 67 in a 55-mile zone, not slowing down as soon as you see the signages even. I mean, you've got, the technology is here to protect lives. You know, I talked to these drivers, I said, every company has had to put rules in place, and the government does rules because after trying to get the drivers and the four-wheelers to do it on their own, it's just not happening. So you force others to take action by not doing it. And like Sir Rick said, now it's forcing the invention of autonomous vehicles and stuff, because they all think, somebody thinks this is all going to be safer. And so we've got to do it on our own. I just can't plead with you enough to just slow it down. There's nothing, you're not gaining what you're thinking. You're not going to lose what you think you're going to lose. But what you are going to gain is that precious seconds to react to something, this guy saying, oops, I didn't want to turn left, like Drive Safe Dave. Yeah, he's supposed to, but he may not. And then here's another one. There is just nothing good about this. This is a decision, right? Speed, 47 and a 30-something, I think, is what I saw the speed limit sign. And we're going to pass in a no passing zone. This is not a passing lane. This is a turn lane for both directions. That's why the yellow lines are there. You're not to pass people. And again, this driver is going to pass another vehicle, and it's just an unsafe decision. There's all kinds of driveways and entrances to businesses here. This is just crazy.
Yeah, we don't know. Again, these videos come in, and we don't know exactly where that comes from. However, I will say this. I would like to think that there's no chance that this driver has ever watched an episode of BCB Live. And if he or she did, maybe they just watched it once and said, this safety thing's not for me. And I'm going to tell you as a company is that if you willingly let people this, and without talking to them, going over and educate, following your own policies on here, willingly let people drive like this for your company, you are negligent as well. If it's a habit, you've got to make sure you're talking to these drivers about these decisions. First of all, Drive Safe Dave, driving 45, 46, 47, whatever they're driving in a 35 in a small town it's almost, I don't even know what word to say. It doesn't make any sense. There's a good chance there's going to be an officer out here anyway.
I'm going to tell you right now, if you get caught doing this in a small town, he's going to be mad.
And he should just grill you, and you should get tons of money fined on you because this is not safe. It doesn't make any sense.
And he knows
boy, it gets Sir Rick's blood just boiling right now, because why would you ever do this?
Yeah, this right here, and you get caught by the cop you're talking about, he's going to be mad because you're doing it in his town.
Yes.
And you're not. And you know what? Right here, it's so dangerous. You have no, when people move into the turn lane, they slow down. You're basically speeding up going around this car, and it's crazy the way you're doing this.
Yeah, shame on you.
And play that one again, because I missed something there. There's a car actually coming the opposite direction in this lane.
Absolutely.
And I missed right here. So he's getting ready to turn.
He's turning.
He or she. So, yeah, and that can come out of anywhere. That you come out of them side streets and then get right in that center lane, right? As you're passing here, somebody comes out because they want to turn right across there, up the road a little bit.
Probably didn't even signal either.
No. And again, and on a good note, this driver really got the speed down, and here comes another passing on the shoulder, slows it even more, and actually kind of, without getting in the other lane, gives them as much room they can in their own lane, so that nothing, they're trying to help if anything goes wrong. And that driver's still passing people on the shoulder. So good job by that driver. Man. You had somebody, producer?
Yeah, we got Jeff Marsh and then Abdullah Wadood. What do you guys got for us today?
Morning, Jeffrey.
Good morning, gentlemen. That video that you were showing where we were passing in that center lane and everything, depending on how the traffic flows, so like a lot of times when you got lanes like that, a lot of times one side will be moving and the other side won't, and then it'll reverse. So a lot of times you can't get out of there because you can't get both sides clear at the same time. So what a lot of people do is, if they're going to turn left right there, or if they're coming out of the right and they're going to turn left, they'll use that center lane when their lane clears up. They'll use that center lane to kind of wait for the other lane to clear up, and then they'll move on over and stuff like that. And if you get somebody that does that, you're going to hit them and you're going to kill them.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Thank you, Jeffrey. Mr. Wadu, good morning, sir.
Abdullah.
All right.
Well, if Abdullah cannot get his mic out, he did type it in. He said he got rewarded for getting out and looking the other day. He got out and looked and found a $10 bill on the ground. So there you go.
That was my 10.
There you go.
That was my 10.
Thank you, Abdullah. That's what I'm saying. The rewards are plentiful. Not only may you save life, but there's other signs out there that just reward you for getting out and looking. Hey, who else do we have, producer?
Yeah, we got Curtis Benedict. What do you got for us, sir?
Good morning, Curtis.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. Hey, that number 3 video with that car that passed on the shoulder.
It was the second one. Second video.
Was it the second one?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That was me on I-70 in Illinois, just past the 55 split out of St. Louis. And there was no on-ramp there. And I tell you what, I've never had that happen to me out of all my years driving. And I swear to God, I think I had a heart attack because that scared the living bejesus out of me, because I was not in any way, shape, or form expecting that to happen. And then you go and show another one at the end that it did it to somebody else. And I tell you what, people are really starting to, I think, go out of their minds when it comes to driving. They have no patience whatsoever, and it's all about me. And boy, I tell you what, people, please pay attention to your mirrors, because that one caught me off guard completely. And I mean, my heart was racing when that happened, because I just wasn't expecting it. So
yeah, and great
that's
job
all I've got, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you, Curtis, and great job taking as much speed out of that equation as you can. In case something went wrong, you were not going to be involved in it, and that's the key. Get the speed down as fast as you can, safely, but get it down and get as much speed out of the equation.
Yeah, and Curtis brings up, people running out of patience, and unfortunately, we look at certain streaks, and we talk about hashtag in the street Texas, going on, 21 years, is that right, of greater than 21 years of a fatality in the state of Texas on a highway or on a road. And it just says that, we have got to bring back common sense. I know it's not so common anymore, but we've got to pack the patience. We've got to really focus on safety and the decisions out there on the road. That's you, the four-wheeler, the big truck as well. Man, we see it on both sides of it. It's just not, it's going to take life. Hey, we're going to close this with a quick prayer. We did get an email from one of our listeners out there, so we'll make sure we include you on that. Hey, we want to make sure that if you need something, email us here at BCB Live. We're here in so many different ways for you. It's about safety. It's about doing the right thing. Our dear Heavenly Father, thank you once again for this day you've given us. Thank you for these drivers that you've blessed us with. Thank you for these the courage that they have. Lord, we just ask to give them a little bit more patience, to give those four-wheelers more patience as well as they're on those roads. A big, quick prayer for our brother Larry as well as he's out there, fighting through the cancer. And it's, this is a cancer week as the Jimmy V Foundation as well talks about that. And all of these folks out here, Lord, that have fought through it, that have lost loved ones to it, we just ask you to keep them strong and keep their faith there as well. A big prayer also goes out to Josh and his daughter as she's going into labor today, as we ask that everything comes out perfect, that this baby is healthy, that mom is healthy, and that you bless them, Lord, in so many ways. We thank you for all that you do for this. Give us the wisdom, give us the ability to forgive, and give us that ability to pack some more patience as we enter in these highways. Thank you for all that you do. It's in your son's name we pray. Amen. Everybody will be here this afternoon. This is BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.